It's that time of the day, y'all, where it's the Talking with Sue Ham show, a show that's inspirational, motivational, and offers a lot of good comedy. This is the show to help you jumpstart your day, jumpstart your life, jumpstart your year. So make sure you're tuning in and listening. Get ready, because here it is, the Talking with Sue Ham show. Hey everybody, that's right. We are here once again spreading love, inspiration, and motivation on the number one talk show in the world, the Talking with Sue Ham show. And guess who my guest is? He is the dynamic Salvatore Gencarelle. He's an artist, photographer, freelance writer, a musician, and a healer, working both the traditions of the Lakota and the modern world. He currently travels across the country teaching and helping others learn from his experience. Salvatore believes that the key to healing is being balanced with nature, each other, ourselves, and God. Salvatore, also known as Sal, is the author of the book, A Man Among the Helpers. And in this book, Sal explains his journey and encourages everyone to become a helper, empowering you to use your own gifts and passion to heal the world. Sal says, each of us has a sacred purpose which can be unlocked and understood through ceremony. His passion is helping others become a helper and fulfill their destinies. Listeners, help me welcome Salvatore to the show. Hey, Sal, how are you, friend?
I'm doing well, Sue. Thank you very much for having me here.
Oh, man, it's indeed an honor. It's an honor to be able to talk to so many different people all across the world and get them to expose their lives, their stories, their inspiration and motivation, their struggles, and their success. So it is my honor to have you on the Talking with Sue Ham show.
Yep, great. Yeah, I hear you. It's so nice to be able to communicate to the audience here, and of course you and the great work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. I received that. Thank you so much. I'm blushing. Tell us, Sal, and I'm so glad you allow me to call you Sal, even though I love your full name, Salvatore, right?
Yeah, Salvatore.
I love that. My real name is Salandia, but it's hard for a lot of people to say that, so I'm like, hey, call me Sue.
Yep. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So thank you for allowing me to call you Sal. Tell us, what is your background? Where do you come from?
Well, originally I grew up in Massachusetts for most of my life, between Massachusetts and a little bit in Minnesota, but I'm kind of East Coast boy, and obviously from Italian and Irish. My dad's full-blooded Italian, my mom's Irish. So
okay.
Yeah, I got the name from my great grandfather and his grandfather, so now I'm Salvatore as well. But yeah, Massachusetts, grew up over there, and pretty much lived in kind of I would say a lower middle class family. Back then it was a little different than it is today.
Mm-hmm.
But we lived in nature. Did a lot of things out in the woods. We didn't really have TV all that much, and of course had the garden that fed us, and just lived a typical American lifestyle at that point.
That was those were the days when, like you said, living in nature. And as you were talking, it just took me back to when I was a little girl in the country. We call it the country, and how we'd be in the woods, chasing birds and shooting the birds out of the tree with our BB guns. And now I don't shoot the birds because I love birds, but it's just being outdoors, cutting wood. What we called it, chopping wood, and just walking in the woods, climbing trees. It's so nurturing.
Yeah, that's exactly how we grew up too. Swimming in the rivers all summer. We weren't stuck indoors the way they are nowadays. The kids in front of computer screens or TV screens. We didn't have those types of distractions, I guess. So, grew up very close to the land and really built up a good relationship with the land in that way.
Wow.
And my parents, they were kind of from the hippie generation, so they cooked on wood stoves and we heated our house with wood. We definitely did our fair share of chopping wood and stacking wood as well. So I can relate to everything you're saying as well.
Now, I see here you said that by the time you were 15 years old, you were the average teenager. You wasn't concerned with too many things beyond your own wants and needs. You even started skipping school and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. At 15, I started high school at 14. I kind of started early. So by the time I was 15, kind of like the typical jaded youth of America, skateboarding, running around, not being very smart about what was happening around me, just kind of, being selfish in a way. But but I suppose that's to be expected at that age. So, yeah, that's how it was. Right up until the point where I had what I call a vision. You know, and the term vision I'm using from my indigenous training with the Lakota Sioux. And this vision pretty much opened my eyes to the modern world and what was happening around me. And you know, in so many words, it was this big, expansive consciousness moment.
Right.
You know, and definitely not drug induced or anything like that, but it was just this huge awareness that took over that made me really realize that the lifestyles that we're living at this time, and this was back in, probably 85 or so. They really were not healthy. They weren't what we call nowadays sustainable. On any level, whether that be environmental or politically or socially, in all these different ways. And now we have it, 23 plus years later. Obviously we're seeing some of the effects deeply now. That at that vision at 15, in the 80s, really was showing me that this is the path that we're on.
Oh man!
And that we're going to have some major problems because of it.
And how old are you today?
I am 39. Yep, just turned 39 last month.
And you had this vision at 15. Okay, well, go ahead. I just wanted to know. So you've been working. I'm assuming you had the vision, and it's like, okay, it's like an epiphany, a revelation, and so you begin to start working to help people, to help save the earth.
Yeah, well, in so many words, yes. That's kind of cliche almost to say it like, to save the world. I mean, I think we all have that kind of desire to really help, but it's like, wow, the world's big and there's all these problems, and so I said, well, what can I do? In the vision, let's say, I saw that our relationships were broken, and relationships in a really comprehensive way of looking at it. In the vision, what I saw is that these relationships are like ropes. You could call them like threads that run from each person out to the things that they're really connected to.
Right.
And that what was happening was at one point people were really healthy, that they were really connected. They had good family relationships, that they had good community relationships, and they had good relationships with the land. And they understood that a long time ago now that was essential. It was essential for life. What it was and then the vision showed me the present, which pretty much showed that these relationships, that these ropes were breaking. They were either broken completely, or they were like being tattered, and some were like really weak. A lot of people still had these thicker ropes to family at that point, not so much the community. And then it showed the projection of what was going to happen. And at the same time, I'm getting both environmental scenes and kind of like family and community scenes all at the same time. And then it showed the future version where people had very, very few threads, and the environment was in terrible shape, and people were really sick and dying. And it kind of progressed to the point where it was like, okay, I've seen enough. I don't want to see anymore, because, it pretty much showed like our grandchildren are not going to have the life that we want them to have. Our grandchildren are going to be in some really serious trouble if this is not corrected within our generation. And this was part of the message, is that every generation has its task to do. Every generation has its challenge to meet, that the previous generations maybe couldn't or weren't able to. So within our generation, we have this task to really change this pattern and to really become like conscious of it, and then with that, start correcting what has gone wrong.
So now let me ask you this, because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the heaviness of this vision. You're only 15 years old. I mean, here you are, the typical teenager out in the streets, having a good time with your friends, cutting classes, and then all of a sudden you get this vision that's so deep that says, hey, we need to change the way we do things. We've gotten away from God. We've gotten away from earth. We've gotten away from our true selves, why we're really here. And you get this vision saying we need to do something. What were your thoughts? I mean, walk me through that.
At first I was kind of like, I was floored in a way, because the vision is beyond sight. It's more, there was like the pictures kind of that went with it, but it was also like a really deep, heartfelt sense too. Like, I can't really describe it. It's like being able to touch every living being in the world, and having that like sense of connection. It's like a oneness, I guess that would be the right word. Oneness. And to me, now looking back on it, it was like touching God, and it was like this really deep communication in this place. So at first, it was like almost too much to comprehend, like on a mind level, on an intellectual level. But over time, what I started to do was pretty much like try to process it. And because so much of it was related back to our people's relationship with the earth and with nature,
right? I
separated myself from my friends, my family. I'd still visit and everything like that, but I wasn't. It was like all of a sudden I wasn't a kid anymore. I wasn't that 15-year-old kid. I had to be an adult, and I had to be responsible. So I went out into nature, and I would just go out into nature and pray. And I lived by this kind of special mountain, and it had really nice cliffs where you had a great view over the land and the rolling hills of western Massachusetts. It's really beautiful. I would go up there and I would just pray, and I'd ask for guidance.
Right.
And within a really relatively short period of time, my prayers went to, okay, I understand these things, but I need like a human teacher. I need somebody to show me and teach me what to do with this information, because I really don't know. I know I need to do something now, but what is it? So within a few months of doing that, this Native American medicine man from South Dakota, from the Oglala Sioux Native American tribe, showed up at my doorstep, and he was doing his traditional ceremonies, and he's a really high-level healer within his people. And he had just recently brought these ceremonies off the reservation, really for the exact same reason that I had this vision as well, because through their ceremonial processes, they recognized that the earth and the people's connections and relationships were getting so bad that even though they were kind of separate in a way, being a separate nation and kind of being like isolated within the Indian reservation, they recognized that it's getting so bad out here that it's going to affect them even if they stay isolated. So they wanted to come out, and they did come out, and they were guided to come out, let's say, by God really, to say, here's what the issue is. Here's what's happening with your people, and this is what's happening with our people as well. But let's work together and make this world a better place.
And I like that. And we're going to go ahead and take a break, but I really like that. In the words of Michael Jackson and Sal and Sue Ham, let's work together and make this world a better place. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Talking with Sue Ham show, where my guest is Sal Gencarelle. We will be right back, guys. Stay tuned, because after the break, Sal is going to tell us how we can get back to the earth and begin the healing process.
You're listening to the #1 talk show in the world, the Talking with Sue Ham show.
Got a great product, service, book, event, business, or music you want to share with the public? Then let Sue Ham help you advertise on TV, radio, social media, and the internet. Call 843-230-0175 to get your business, services, books, events, and products on TV today. Or visit us online at www.sueham.com. That's sueham.com.
Yes, we are still here. That's right. The #1 talk show in the land is the Talking with Sue Ham show, where today my guest is Sal Gencarelle, the author of A Man Among the Helpers. And right before the break, Sal was telling us how we need to get back to loving each other, get connected to our true selves and to God and to the earth in order for us to heal. So Sal, I understand, like right before the break, you were praying in the mountains, you were asking for God to send you someone, to send you some guidance, and you meet a Native American medicine man, and then you began to train underneath him. Can you tell us briefly what this training was about? How long did it last?
Well, it was extremely intense. Being let's say non-native, going into a Native American ceremonies and training like this, that's really old. It was a huge culture shock. So the way the training works is that it lasts usually about 16 to 17 years.
Woo!
It's really...
that's not training. That's full on school and college.
Yeah, it's really comparable to getting your medical degree.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between this training, though, and let's say modern medicine, and I understand modern medicine fairly well because I'm also a paramedic, so I worked in that system too. The difference between this indigenous way in modern medicine is that we don't look at the person as just the body and just the mind. We look at a person and we have to understand their spirit, we have to understand their heart, and we have to understand their mind, and we have to understand the body, of course. And to us, in a lot of ways, the body is the simplest part to cure. The really tough part is the person's mind, and then after that, the tough part is the person's heart, their emotions, and the hardest part is actually their spirit.
Wow.
So part of this training is to understand these four parts and really how they work together. And so what my training included, of course, is understanding myself very, very deeply. And we had, as part of this, we have to go through, multiple rites of passage, including what we call the vision quest, which is spending, up to 4 nights and days out in nature, really isolated and secluded in fasting and prayer, and really coming to understand what it is to be a human being. And so, to say the least, it was an intense period of time, and, there were many, many challenges that went along with that. Besides just the ceremonial aspects and the rites of passage that went along with that, it was just life in general.
Well, I got to tell you, I am fascinated with the fact that the Native Americans take into consideration the body, heart, mind, and spirit, because a lot of times, medical doctors, they just look at the body and they give you a diagnosis. They can say, hey, you're going to die in 6 months, you're going to die in a year. And it's like, if you are weak-minded and if you accept that, then that, most oftentimes will be your fate. But,
yes.
It's more to it than that. I do believe that we can heal ourselves, through God, when we change the way we feel, when we change the way we think, when we change the way we see things and change our spirit. And a broken spirit, that's a bad thing. And like you said, the spirit is the hardest thing to work on.
That's exactly our philosophy, and that's so many times that was the case, because what people would do is they would get that diagnosis of 6 months to live, and then they would end up somehow, like synchronistically, they would be guided to this healer, and to, of course, I'm working with them, and, within four days, we would have this person healed, like whatever it was, cancer, HIV, it was the diabetes, whatever type of life and death situation they were in. 4 days later, they would be healed and go back to their doctors, and their doctors would write it, literally write it off as a miracle. But that's the power when you're working on all four parts in a really healthy and conductive way. And you're absolutely right. Mind, heart, body, and spirit have to be dealt with, and they have to be dealt with effectively. So that's where that 17 years of understanding that comes in.
Absolutely. Well, you said this training was about 17 years. Surely you had to go through some ups and some downs. Tell us some of the challenges you overcame during your training.
Well, the first challenge, of course, was the culture shock. Not only the culture shock of the Native American culture that I was going into, but the culture shock of, the reservation is probably at least 10 years behind the rest of the world. In some ways, they're even farther behind. So it was like stepping back in time in a lot of ways,
Wow.
from TV and radio and everything else, and like all of a sudden, like nothing, like not even electricity, hand pumping the water and stuff like that. So, over time, I actually ended up marrying my teacher's daughter. She was the same age as me, and we formed a relationship. And I'd say that one of the most difficult experiences and probably one of the deepest lessons that I learned was the loss of my firstborn daughter during a car accident. It was just part of what happened, but it taught me so much about life and death, and really the beauty of life in such a deep way that I'm still carrying so many gifts from that, even though it was such a tragic event.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sal, what is your message to the world?
Well, the main message is that we need to really look at our connections, and going back to that original vision of our threads, look look at connection not just as, like your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your house, your car, or, your job, but think of all the different ways in which you're connected, and understand that there's three main things that really we need to really think about and see how we're connected to it and how our relationships are in that way. And the three main things are nature, how we're connected to each other, and how we're connected in working with ourselves. And the fourth, of course, is like I say God. You could call it a higher power, higher consciousness. In the Lakota would call it Wakantanka. Like there's whatever you want to call that. There is a higher power like that. So it's like, how are we relating to these things? Are we relating to this in a healthy way, or are we relating to this in a way that disconnects us? It's really easy to see this within our lives around our relationships, especially our close relationships like our spouses, because if we take this and we say what feeds this relationship and what makes it healthy and happy, and we do those things, then it becomes healthy and happy. If we look at it and we say what makes us unhealthy and what makes me like disconnect from my spouse, and we do those things, well, we're going to have that disconnection. So if we start looking at like our relationship with the land like that, and we start looking at our relationship with our coworkers and our community and our, whatever organizations we belong to, like how can we make this a more supportive and a healthier life? And then not just for us. And this is what I always fall back on, too, is this isn't for us so much, but it's for our children. It's for our children to grow up and so that they have a place to live that is healthy and happy, and that they can grow up to be healthy and happy adults, and not struggle in their lives like we do.
Yeah.
Like we are right now.
And I'll tell you, as a parent, I definitely don't want to see my children hurt. And I know, like God, He's our Father. He doesn't want to see us hurt. So, let's obtain balance. And as Sal has said, let's obtain balance with nature, with each other, with ourselves, and with God, and with the earth. And then, and only then, can we begin to get back on track. Is that right, Sal?
Yeah, yep, that's right. And understand it's a process, We're not going to be perfect. We just got to keep moving towards that.
You got to take that first step and keep on moving. Don't look back. Just keep on going. Yeah. But Sal, keep on moving, don't stop. No. I like to try to sing.
I like it.
Well, Sal, before I let you get out of here, please tell everybody how they can connect with you, how they can find out more about the training, how they can live a life of balance so that they can get back on track and have, a great life.
Well, the best way would probably be my website, and on the website, of course, there's a contact page. The website is named after the book, so it's www.manamongthehelpers.com. You can also find me on Facebook under Man Among the Helpers. You can find me at Facebook under, of course, Sal Gencarelle. And my email is sal@manamongthehelpers.com as well. So,
hey, listeners, you better go out there and get that book. Man Among the Helpers by Sal Gencarelle. So go ahead and type in manamongthehelpers.com and order that book today. It will change your life tremendously. Sal, thank you so much for being a part of the Talking with Sue Ham show. I hope we can get you back on here soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. And thank you. Thank you for having me, Sue. This is great.
No problem, my brother. Thank you so much. I'm glad you shared your story, and may you continue to be blessed and continue to go out there and make this world a better place.
Thank you. You too.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with the Sue Ham Tip of the Week.
You're listening to the #1 talk show in the world, the Talking with Sue Ham Show.
When you need to look your best, look no further than Kim's Creations, located in King Street. Kim's Creations has the best in gold-filled jewelry for both adults and children, the latest basketball wives hoops, fashion jewelry, and so much more. Contact Kim today at 843-372-5851 to receive 10% off your jewelry show by booking your jewelry party today. Let Kim's Creations add a little flavor to your fashion. Contact them now at 843-372-5851.
You're listening to the #1 talk show in the world, the Talking with Sue Ham Show.
Yeah, and we are back with the Talking with Sue Ham show. And yes, it's time for the Sue Ham tip of the week. But right before we get into that, I've got some goodies to share with you guys. That's right, some good information. You know I love to pass on good information. So get this. You want to be a star. You can sing, dance, act, or do spoken words, right? You want to be on TV, but you're not good enough for BET Sunday Best, or maybe you're just afraid of American Idol. Got something for ya. Go to americasgotanointing.com. That's right, www.americasgotanointing.com. AMERICAS gotanointing.com. And they can help you get televised to over 23 million households. So what are you waiting on? Go ahead and let that star shine, baby. And for all my people out there that love seafood, I just landed upon this great spot located on Ron McNair Boulevard in Lake City. Want to know what the name of it is? It's Fishnet Seafood Cafe. Yeah, it is under new management by Laurie the Fisherman and Inetta Cooper. And they have the best snow crab legs and garlic shrimp. Oh, they have a variety of different fish. And different fishes. How about that? And I got to tell you, I'm getting hungry right now. Man, the only thing for us to do is to start our engines, vroom, 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 and head on down to Lake City, where they've got the best seafood at Fishnet Seafood and Cafe. But be careful, because I don't need you getting into any automobile accidents. Because if you do, you'll need to holler at Attorney Caesar E. McKnight. I'm telling you, this man is the best. Attorney Caesar E. McKnight, located in Lake City. And if for some reason you kind of knock your hair out of place when you're in that car accident, because we always got to look good, we got to look our best at all times, then give Hollywood Exclusive Hair Salon a call at 843-488-5788. And now I've got one for you. For all you guys that want to drop an album, you want to be a DJ or get some karaoke services done or what have you. Or you need someone to come and videograph your wedding or to do a TV show for you. Maybe some of you want to start your own reality TV show, but you just don't have the equipment to do that. Well, here, contact Blue Moon Recording Studio. Yes. They have a special going in November and December. So contact them, find out about the special, find out how you can record your own music, how you can have photography or videography done of your weddings, parties, and special events. Or they can provide professional DJ and karaoke services, or they can come and record your own TV show for you to put on TV. Yeah, that's at Blue Moon Recording Studio. Call Gene and Kathy August at 843-659-3423. Okay. Enough of that. I've given you all the goods for this week. Now it's time for Sue Ham to get into the tip of the week. And it's simple. Don't do what you're not gifted to do. Another way of saying that, do what you're gifted to do. I know what you're saying. Sue, why don't you take your own advice? You're always trying to sing. Well, guess what? I'm gifted to sing. So listen, do what you're gifted to do, be who you are, and the world will experience the best that you have to offer. Well, y'all know this has been my time. I've got to get out of here. And in closing, I would always like to say that it's important that you live, learn, love, and laugh, baby. And you better go get that good book that I got. You know which one. Don't quit. Follow your dreams. And make sure you download the new mobile app located on my website at SueHam.com. I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. And remember always that Sue Ham loves you, baby. And I certainly hope that you're loving me back. Hey, connect with me on Facebook and Twitter, okay? The easiest way to do that is go to the website, SueHam.com.
Listen to previous episodes of the Talking with Sue Ham show at SueHam.com.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to the Talking with Sue Ham show. I hope you join us again next week. And please make sure you go to my website at SueHam.com, SueHam.com. Share the show with your friends and family, as well as leave me a question or a comment about today's show. I would love to connect with you, be your motivational speaker, talk to you. Just go to the website, SueHam.com. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week, same time, 5:30 p.m. on WPDT 101.